remember how long, guess I always been this way, running 90 miles a minute all night and day, doing things that'd kill a lesser man or get him locked up tight. Never meant to hurt nobody, no I ain't like that, just trying to make my way any way I can. There's a lot of folks out there wanna slow me down, make me act right.
Josh Engle from Dayton, Ohio. I ride a 2002 Harley Davidson Road King. It's a 124 cubic inch twin cam motor. We compete in the AMRA, which is the American Motorcycle Racing Association. The AMRA is kind of like it's the All Harley organization, or V-Twin organization. What got me into racing was, I would say, as a young kid, BMX. You know, you kind of get into riding your bicycle around the neighborhood, and got together with some local kids and started riding. And I was actually in a parking lot of my school, and a few other kids came by and was like, hey man, like, have you ever thought about getting into racing? And it's a funny story. I was probably, I think, around 11 when I got into racing, and I went and forged my mom's signature on an application, and I took conduit and electrical tape and taped it on my bike for pads, and got money from my grandmother and bought my license, and yeah, that's how we entered our first bicycle race.
And then what was the progression from there?
The progression of racing through the years, I think from the time I was 11 then, I won my first 5 races when I was 11, so I turned intermediate immediately, because you win 5 races, you have to turn yourself to an intermediate rider. So I turned intermediate pretty immediate, like kind of quick, and yeah, then my parents kind of got into it. They were like, okay, well, you know, clearly he's doing something, you know, pretty cool. So after about 10 wins in a row as an intermediate on a BMX bike, I turned myself expert, and from there I got beat for probably a year straight after turning expert. And I think that I learned a lot from losing, so clearly I don't like to lose, so from that point forward I kind of it kind of stuck with me, and I wanted to race. Next leg of my racing career, once you know, about 14, 15 years old, I really, you know, kind of got really comfortable on a BMX bike, and then traveled a national circuit and kind of raced only nationals, no more local races at that point in time. Got a factory sponsorship. Then we got into, I don't know, 16, 17 years old, got into motorcycles and started racing motocross. And from that point forward, my dad got a drag bike back then, an old XS 1100, and I think that's kind of, Supercross kind of took, well, it was motocross back then, but motocross we did really well. It's kind of a thing though that it costs a certain amount of money to be able to compete with that, but did really well in motocross. Dad got this drag bike, man. I used to take it after school. He didn't get off till about probably 5:30, and I was out of school by 3:30. So I would go hop on that drag bike before he made it home and take it out, and I think that from that point forward I was hooked. I'd say my very first motorcycle was a 1999 Softail, and that's kind of what started the drag race thing. You know, like I had broke my back, and it kind of got me out of anything physical like that, you know, motocross or BMX or anything like that. So my very first motorcycle was a 2002 Softail. It kind of started out as a joke, and I took it and called somebody out at Killcare Raceway in Xenia, Ohio, and it rained at that event. So I was dedicated enough that we put a trailer hitch on a Hyundai Sonata, and I trailered it all the way to Bowling Green, Kentucky, to race them with a 2002 Softail. And out of 85 people, it was my very first race ever that I ever competed in, and it was in the AMRA. And the very first race we competed in, there was 85 riders, and we made it all the way to the finals. Well, considering that we were in the finals against a guy that had a double stacker trailer that said "Screaming Eagle" on the side of it, and I had on work boots and jeans, it felt pretty damn good. From the very first race that we raced in the AMRA in Bowling Green, Kentucky, we took that 2002 Softail to two other races that year. And this is back in 2017, so we competed in 3 races, and we made it to the finals one other time, and then we won one of the races. And after that year, 2018, we picked up a 2003 Road King, or 2002 Road King that I currently have now. And it kind of progressed pretty fast. We raced the 2018 AMRA series and won a national championship with the bike. 2019, we were kind of directly after winning the championship. It was pretty tough because 2019, unfortunately, we had some issues with an engine builder, and then also got hit with the tornadoes here in Dayton. So the business that I owned was completely taken out from the tornadoes, so we completely stopped doing that. And then we went on to finishing the next motor, and that's the motor that we currently have now. And the bike is ready to go now. Moving forward, some of the races that we competed in 2020, obviously we got struck with COVID, so a lot of events were canceled and stuff like that. So we went to the streets. We competed in many street races. In 2020, we had the first ever Harley Cash Days that here in Dayton, Ohio. I think that there was initially, we had over 20 riders enter that Cash Days initially. And we went all the way to the finals in that race, and we won numerous other street races. And Mike from Detroit Hood TV, shout out to Mike and those guys for the Pour Your Own Prep events. We won one of the the very first Harley shootout at a Pour Your Own Prep event. We won the shootout, and numerous other events that we won last year, but we look forward to 2021 and being able to get into some good racing this year. 2021 plans this year, I would say, really there's a few things that we didn't get to do to the bike. So we're going to finish up a few things here over the next few weeks. Probably run we're still having some scheduling issues with COVID and stuff. Looks like a lot of companies have kind of still kind of been put on the back burner as far as race organizations and stuff like that. But we'll probably compete in actual sanction events, probably a couple Man Cup races this year, probably some NHDRO. Probably try to make it out to some of a couple Hogs Gone Wild events, and then we'll also I'll be putting on probably another Cash Days here in Ohio. Probably do some street racing events and stuff like that. So some of the key people that have helped me get the bike to where it is now are Jeremy Williamson, Williamson Performance in Newcastle, Indiana, and Nate over here. Nate Schwartz, man, has been a huge help. But between Nate and Jeremy, those two guys right there, man, they've literally kept this thing, got this thing running the way it is currently. And then, of Quality Machine has probably been one of the biggest that helps to me in any of my racing career. So these guys have helped me from being, in 2018 we put a Yamaha R6 front wheel on a Harley, and you don't go to a race right now, you don't see 20 of them on a Harley. So these guys right here have literally got the bike to where it is, and yeah, huge shout out to these guys. I would say Montgomery Motorsports Carbon Fiber. We laid out some of the first carbon fiber bags and carbon fiber rear fender, front fender. Yeah, so those guys right there, man, they keep this bike rolling. Shout out to another huge shout out would be to Ohio Grudge Racing. I would say Ohio Grudge Racing is probably one of the more premier street race channels. YouTube, you got Facebook. These guys, they put a spotlight on all of us Ohio guys. And you know, hey, these Dayton Small Tire Mafia guys, man, this is a group of guys that they may not, they race cars and stuff like that. They may not have bikes or anything like that, but you know, I see these faces at every single race that I'm actually at, and I attend tons of car stuff too. So, you know, hey, I enjoy racing with these guys and stuff like that. So, you know, one of the huge things in any racing that you compete at is all of us, you know, our family. You know, my wife is probably one of my biggest supporters. You know, you hear guys talk about how much, you know, how much they thank their family and stuff like that, but literally my wife is the one who puts me in the burnout box. My wife is the one that helps me with everything, checks the air pressure and the tires. She was standing on the starting line when we won a national championship. I can honestly say that I didn't even know that I had won the championship until I got back to the staging lanes, and or until I got back to the pit, and my wife looked at me and she said, "Babe, we won." And I mean, dude, we put both of our bank accounts at this. You know, this is everything to us. So I would say she's probably just as much dedicated to this as I am, and yeah, huge support system. My daughter goes to the races with us. You know, yeah, family is everything. I'd like to thank a huge shout out to Dave at Z Performance. Dave has supplied us with pretty much every single part on this bike. I've known those guys for over 20 years now. So huge shout out to Dave at Z Performance. Quality Machine, which is actually the shop that you know, we're actually shooting everything at. So huge shout out to Quality Machine. Montgomery Motorsports, Williamson Performance, Jeremy Williamson, Nate Schwartz, and yeah, man, I look forward to 2020. So if you guys are ready to get gapped, feel free to get a hold of us.
Anybody else you want to thank?
Oh, yeah. I need to plug that in.
I'll edit it.
Yeah, put it
My
together.
wife, who I love very much.
Yeah, when you're pointing at your finger, I thought you were flipping me off. I did. I thought he was like.
You want to thank anybody else, bitch?
But he was pointing at his. Well, you know, I couldn't look at his finger.
I mean, that is probably what we
Yeah.
normally do, so.
You remember how long it's always been this way, running 90 miles a minute all night and day, doing things that'd kill a lesser man or get him locked up tight. Never meant to hurt nobody, no I ain't like that, just trying to make my way any way I can. There's a lot of folks out there wanna slow me down, make me act right.